Okay, icon toolbars. Well, first things first, we're in a workspace at the moment where there aren't any icon toolbars. We're in the 2D drafting and annotation workspace. If we want to work with icon toolbars, what we do is we change our workspace to AutoCAD Classic. AutoCAD Classic opens up the original AutoCAD interface. I'll just lose that palette in the middle of the screen there. That comes up by default. That's your tool palettes. Now, these are your icon toolbars. Now, you'll notice at the moment they're all docked. See the little grey shaded area there? If I click and hold and drag, I can move that toolbar around the screen. It's now a floating toolbar, as you can see. Just move away from that 3D solid so it doesn't highlight there. And as you can see, if I hover over the icons, the little tooltip tells me what each icon does on the icon toolbar. Now, it's up to you if you want to work with icons. You'll notice down on the status bar I'm working with icons for my drafting settings here. So I've got things like object snaps. So if I right click over that, there's the settings for my object snaps, for example. But you'll notice as well that I can work with these toolbars. Now, these toolbars I can click and hold and drag. And if I drag that back towards the left-hand side of the screen, can you see the vertical ghost image appear there? As soon as that appears, release the mouse button, and that will dock that toolbar back on the left-hand side of the screen there. Now, I can lock my toolbars. If I come down to the bottom of the screen to the status bar here and right-click over this padlock, can you see floating toolbars and panels and dock toolbars and panels? Now, you can use this with either toolbars or the ribbon. I'm going to lock my docked toolbars. So as soon as I click on that there, what you'll find is that little grey shaded area has gone from the top of the toolbar there. If I click and drag now, see the little no entry sign appears there, telling me that I can't move that docked toolbar. It's been locked. So I have to go down to the locked padlock here, right click, undo the tick by clicking on dock toolbars and panels, and now when I click and drag, you'll see that I can actually move that toolbar again like that and make it back into a floating toolbar. Now I can, as you can see, move along that toolbar, and there's the little previews telling me what the commands do. Now, that's not the most practical place to leave a toolbar, but what I could do is I could lock that now by right-clicking and locking my floating toolbars and panels. Now, I cannot physically move that. See the little no entry sign again? But if I hold down the Control key on the keyboard and then click and drag, you'll notice I can move it. Can you see that? So I've got the Control key held down on the keyboard, and I can actually move that, and I can redock that like so. So be aware of that. Once it's locked, you can hold down the Control key and still move things around. It's a right click there, and I'm just going to undo that floating toolbars and panels locking there. So that's your icon toolbars in your AutoCAD Classic workspace. If you want to work with icon toolbars, that's the workspace you need to be in.